Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the show. This is the AlphaStrong Network, and today we have another episode of Faith Tech Finance, where we bring you all things faith, finance, and technology. It's basically where I can talk about whatever I want because it's all related to either my faith, finances, or something about technology, which I love. Just a couple of things today. It's probably just going to be a rant show because there's some craziness going on out there. Not really happy with some of the stuff I've seen. Specifically this week, Biden signed oh my God, the most stupidest thing ever. I would say the something about marriage act. But basically he signed a bill into law, which was passed by the legislation, which means they're all a bunch of idiots. Basically the Defense of Marriage Act or something like that. And, it was just another crazy leftist liberal, like totally anti-God bill. And the whole show afterwards, he brought on a bunch of trannies and you know, uh, what are they called? Like drag queens and stuff. And they made a big old show about it and everything. It's just so degrading and debased. And I just am ashamed to be an American. I'm ashamed that that's the stuff that our country is promoting. Like, what is wrong with us? We're over here like promoting, that kids go get these sex changes and, hormone therapies and all this stuff to make boys into girls and girls into boys, which can't be done because biologically that's not possible. Um, and we're choosing to promote this stuff and push this narrative, and God forgive us, man. Like, seriously, like, God have mercy on us because we deserve his judgment. If this is what our nation is going to be about, if this is what we are, um, this is the hill we're willing to die on to promote this debauchery and this uh, anti-biblical, anti-God, message. Like, man, God, be merciful to us because the coming judgment is going to be bad. And we wonder why our nation is where it is right now. Just these crazy leftist liberal policies have, totally left us in a terrible state. And this is the time for the church. This is a time for godly Christian people to stand up, to not hold back. Now is the time to raise the standard and say, no, we're not going to allow this. We're tired of this. This is ridiculous. And it is a vocal minority that is promoting this stuff. And unfortunately, they are infiltrating our schools. They have infiltrated our schools and the education system and everything. And so our next generations are being brainwashed into thinking that all this is okay. And I've heard it from my own kids, and I've had to, work hard to like try to teach them like, no, that's wrong. Like that whole lifestyle is wrong. Like, and we're not talking about, you know, we're not talking about issues that are, questionable as it comes to biblical theology and what the Bible teaches. Like, this stuff is clear. And so we can stand on the word of God and we can say, hey, look, this is what God says. This is what the word of God says. And this is what we're choosing to live by. These are the standards that we're willing to uphold. And us as a family, we're going to abide by this stuff. This is the truth. What you're being taught are lies. It's misinformation. And, I'm willing to, fight that battle on behalf of my children and for the sake of my family and everything. So, that's some of the stuff that's going on. Some of the stuff that's going on right now, obviously we have the whole FTX thing in the land of crypto. So we were supposed to go to the Bahamas to go protest. I was actually supposed to go down there. Someone was paying for us to go down there to go hold a peaceful protest to try to push the Bahamian government to arrest SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, if you're not familiar who that is, because he was just going free. And he was supposed to testify before Congress on Tuesday, right? Maxine Waters leading this total bogus sham of a hearing. And, They're sitting on their hands, not arresting him or anything. So we're going to go down to the Bahamas and push for the Bahamian government to arrest him, hopefully pushing the U.S. to then extradite him or whatever, because they would want to take control of that. But isn't it funny, though, and very coincidental that the day before he's supposed to testify before Congress, which I'm sure he would have perjured himself and totally lied and everything, right, and got himself into a lot more trouble lying to Congress, all of a sudden, like, they, pull out the indictment, and now he's being arrested and this and that. And now he doesn't have to testify in front of Congress, So he gets arrested, and so there goes my trip to the Bahamas, which, it's all right. We'll go. I'll go some other time. But if you look at the hearing that Maxine Waters has, she puts on a bunch of idiots that have nothing to do with real crypto, that aren't like really into crypto. You got some lame-ass C actor, right, from the OC, whatever, talking about how crypto's bad and what it did to him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You got Kevin O'Leary, who was in bed with SBF, who was an investor with SBF, putting all the blame on Binance, on CZ and Binance, when SBF funneled $10 billion at least of user funds and went on a spending spree, buying all kinds of real estate, and more importantly, throwing a bunch of money, millions and millions of dollars at candidates, mostly Democratic, like the vast majority, like 95% were all Democratic candidates or super PACs and things like that. Like the number 2 donor to the Democrats, and like he was throwing all this, and this is user funds, right? Illegal, like campaign finance fraud, basically. And then he gets Kevin O'Leary right up there talking about, oh no, it was Binance. It was Binance that did this. They're the ones who took them down. I was like, no, it was their fraudulent activity, is them stealing user funds. And no one's saying anything. The media is totally, quiet. It's ridiculous. But another thing that the media is totally quiet about, Elon Musk, right, buys Twitter and starts going through all the dirty laundry, airing it out, starts posting stuff about how they 100% with certainty we're banning people, we're shadow banning, we're ghost banning, conservatives, Trump, everyone. And after they said, no, we're not doing that. We don't do that. We're not engaged in that. No, for sure. Like they were totally doing this, going after conservatives, and Elon Musk is putting all this stuff out, puts out a bunch of stuff. We're waiting for the information about, the vaccines and the pandemic and COVID and everything else and what they were doing. And I'm not even allowed to say that because I might get shadow banned from the tube. But anyways, so he's putting out all this stuff, and the media is dead silent. They're not saying nothing until, okay, and then so basically he's outing the fact that Twitter was engaged in all this shadow banning and unplatforming, Trump and everything else, and the media is silent, right? They're not saying nothing, right? Because they're in collusion. They knew, and the worst part about this whole thing is the fact that government officials were working with Twitter to deplatform and taking people off and shadow banning them and everything. So the U.S. government officials, right, were over here blocking free speech, killing the First Amendment, right, and basically using Twitter, and I'm sure every other social media platform. I don't think it's just Twitter. I'm sure every other social media platform, Google, Facebook, YouTube, everyone, all of them, even Instagram, everything, right? I'm sure that they're in collusion with these social media people and to get people banned, right? Especially if anything related to COVID and what other, mainstream media narrative that they want to push. But the media is silent on this, right? Because they're all complicit with it until Musk starts banning journalists because they were doxing him, right, in his airplane, and his son almost got, some guy, finds, where Elon Musk's son is at because he got off the plane or something like that. And he follows him, jumps on the car, does all this stuff. So he's putting Musk's family at risk, his little son X or whatever, right? So media is now, silent on the fact that he's getting doxxed and the fact that they're going after his family and everything else. But yet these journalists who were, pushing out or commenting or like tweeting the doxing information. So he bans them, and now all of a sudden riots in the streets by the leftist media. Oh, how is Elon, blocking, journalists and free speech and blah, 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 blah. And, oh yeah, how convenient, now when it pertains to you guys, So like this is the stuff is just, dude, we live in a clown world. Like this world is upside down right now. How is this possible? But it doesn't surprise me because the Bible says that good will be called evil and evil will be called good in the last days, right? And like we know that it's going to get worse, right? It's going to get so bad that he has to come back and judgment has to be poured out upon this world because we're just blatantly evil and every thought in our hearts is evil, right? Just like in the days of Noah, like this is how it's going to be. And unfortunately, and us as believers, I think what we need to be doing is just knowing that the time is near and we shouldn't be afraid of it. We should be um, just asking God to give us wisdom and give us strength and helping us to accomplish our great commission, or the great commandment, right? Which is to, go forth and make disciples, right? And I think that's what we need to be about. And this is something that we need to be doing. And it's just something that, it's time is short. And if we're not willing to stand up and speak out and say what we really feel and how we really think things should be, it's only going to get worse for not just us, but for our children, our children's children. And, hopefully, he comes back soon. And I think he is. I think he'll be here within less than 5 years, but that's just me. Um, I'm sure I'm wrong, but I could be right. You never know. So yeah, so a lot of other stuff going on. Trump released some NFT project or something, like some trading cards with him as like a superhero, or whatever. It's just laughable. I mean, like, dude. Um, Look, I agree with a lot of the policies that he had, and we could see that because our economy was doing great. And now that since Biden has taken over, it has been just a total disaster. And you know, whatever you think of him as a man, as a person, or whatever, that, I think that's separate from his policies. Um, Now, when it comes to 2024, do I think he should run again? No, I don't think he should run again. I don't think so at all. I think, that's he will likely potentially lose unless we can figure out, all the stuff that went wrong in the elections in 2020 and in 2022, and we can prevent this stuff from happening again. In that case, I think he will, because I do think the election was taken from him. I think the pandemic was all part of it to push the mail-in ballot narrative and the fact that, it was a lot more potential for fraud and all that stuff. So I was saying that in March, the moment that the thing locked down, I knew it. Like, I called it and asked my wife. She'll tell you this is exactly what I was saying, that they're going to use it to stop, the election, or stop Trump from winning the election. And so anyways, if we can figure all that out, then he might have a chance. But I don't think that is the best thing for the country, to be honest with you. I think he's too divisive. And I think we need someone that's going to be much more of a team player, much more bipartisan. And I think someone that is, let's just say, not as vengeful and childlike in his attacks and things like that. So I think this is where DeSantis probably has the upper hand. And, if it comes, down to, who's going to represent the Republican Party, I think DeSantis would be a way better candidate. And I think hopefully he will win. Personally, I think for me, I think more I'm leaning towards just being an independent. I think at this point, the Republican Party has, I think, lost its vision. It was so anti-Trump that it lost its conservative values. I think there's a bunch of middle of the road people that are rhinos and Republicans in name only, and to the detriment of the party, unfortunately. And I think there's some that are just too far right wing, that they go to an extreme hateful type of a message. And I think that's where we need to be very careful, especially as a believer. I think you can stand firm upon your convictions and things like that. But I think what I've seen personally is that people then take it too far and they turn to hate. And, you can say you disapprove or don't agree with someone, but to then take it to that next level of hate, I think is wrong. We should be loving, we should be caring. We can hate the sin, but love the sinner. And I think we forget that. We forget that a lot. And I think that total extreme right wing, and you see it. There's still racism. Like, let's be honest. There's still racism. Do I think there's systemic racism? No. Do I think there's institutional racism? No. But I do believe there is racism, and I think the far right of the party and of our nation is, in a lot of ways, hateful in that sense, right? They're hateful against Jews. They're hateful against blacks, or pretty much anyone of color. And I think that's where we need to be very careful. So I think that's where the Republican Party has lost my, and I don't want to say my faith in the Republican Party, but I think just my level of support. They've lost my support because I think they go too far, and we have to be careful with that. So who knows? Maybe it's time for a third party. I think we need a Christian party, to be honest with you. But that's just me. That's because my faith is very strong in that sense, right? I think that we should be. And then look, that's what AlphaStrong is all about. That's what we're trying to do. Is we want to raise the next generation of Christian leaders to impact and influence this world for Jesus Christ. So we want to raise leaders that have a strong conservative, voice, that are going to promote good values, that are going to be promoting family values, that are going to be promoting, righteous living, and getting back to, being a country of morals and of self-control. And if we don't, then we're just going to keep going down the path, right? So we want to raise up these leaders that can then, run for office. Let's start locally. Let's start at the school board level. Start at your local city councils, and let's start in the state assemblies and things like that, and the state senates. And then, moving into getting these people with enough political savvy, enough political experience, and then you can move them into running for actual senators and representatives, and eventually we can take back the House and the Senate and in the White House, right? But we need to raise up these leaders to start doing that and not be beholden to these leftist policies. And, especially here in California, like that's what we see, right? Like, let's be honest, if you're a conservative, you getting voted in is very, very difficult. And I think at any level. But I think we need to raise, godly, just judges who are going to, not try to politicize the bench. And I think it's important for us to do that because that's what's going to keep our democracy free and fair and balanced. But right now, you have a lot of political activism from judges and stuff like that. And I think you need to be very careful with that from both sides, right? From both sides. So yeah, this is the stuff that I think we need to be about. That's what I'm trying to teach, and that's what AlphaStrong is going to be focused on, is raising this next generation of Christian leaders. And we want to teach people, good financial stewardship, teach them about money, how it works, how to keep it, how to make it grow, how to make it produce more money. Like we need people to be very, very responsible with their money, be fiscal conservatives, because our nation needs it. The way we're spending money and the way that we're living, it's just bad. It's going to turn into more, inflation, more bad economic policies and stuff. And I think we need to be very careful with that. We also need to be teaching just stewardship in general, like just be a good steward of this world, of yourself, your body, how you take care of yourself, of your family, of the gifts and talents and resources that God has bestowed upon you, and use it for His glory. Use it for the things that really, really matter. And I think that's really the message is about stewardship, financial stewardship, godly stewardship, and being a good steward of this nation that has been handed to us by our forefathers. And we can make this nation continue to be the greatest nation in the history of the world. But I think right now we're losing our identity. I think it's being stolen, it's being hijacked by the mainstream media. They are the mouthpiece for the leftist, crazy liberals. They control a lot of, if not most of what we see and hear, all the entertainment and things like that. And if you don't go along with their woke policies and, embracing LGBTQ plus and all that stuff, embracing just this debauchery and child exploitation and trafficking and all this stuff, like you are going to be ostracized, you're going to be left out. And I think this is where we need to be creating good, godly Christian content that's dramatic, good quality, good production value and everything. And we can do that. We can tell compelling stories, and we can create good entertainment, good wholesome entertainment. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we should be promoting those types of things. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what AlphaStrong is going to be about, is to raise up these leaders to do that and to create the resources for them to be able to do that. And so hopefully you guys support us in that, and hopefully you guys can share this channel, share this message, and that's what we're about. So I look forward to telling you guys and sharing with you guys more about what's going on with AlphaStrong and kind of where we're headed. But that's it for today, guys. I'm gonna keep it semi-short, but I just wanted to rant a little bit about some of the stuff that's been on my mind and some of the stuff I see. And yeah, that's what we're all about. So hope you guys are doing amazing things out there. Christmas is around the corner. God bless you. Merry Christmas. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas season, and that you guys remember the true reason for the season is Jesus Christ and the gift that God gave us through his son, Jesus. So, and the sacrifice that he did on the cross. So I hope you guys remember to think through that and talk to your kids about that. Talk to your family members. Remember, take some time on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day to remember the reason for the season and to give God thanks for this amazing gift of salvation. And, that's what it's all about. It's not about the presents. It's not about the lights and the trees and all the shopping and all that stuff. None of that matters. What matters is the saving message of Jesus. And, that's what we really need to remember during these tough times and all the darkness that we see around us. So let's be shining lights and let our light shine so that people can see our good works and glorify our Father in heaven. So with that, God bless everybody. Take care. Peace out.